Okay, hey everybody, it's Caden here. I bought this cheap little mini radio from, it's an AM FM radio. I bought it from HEB, and everybody knows, well, at least around here, that you do not buy anything like this from HEB. And I don't even have to explain it because you can just see from the camera view right now how bad this is. They've hot glued every single thing in here. Some of the wires, some of the components on the board aren't even soldered in correctly. And they just kind of hot snot all over it, you know? And why I have this open is because I went to pull the antenna up, and yeah, it came undone. Okay, hold on. Let me get a little bit more white because it looks for white. Sorry about the lag. That's just how the camera is. It don't see paper. It slows down like that. Okay. Anyway, right here, you see, there's hot snot right here. The antenna hole is right here on top. You can see it right where my finger's kind of going invisible. See right there, you can see that hole. Well, it goes down there, and they've hot glued it to the bottom instead of putting a screw through the bottom and holding it in by the threads in the antenna. Okay, that's the first problem. The second problem is the wire that connects to the antenna has come off, because when I went to pull on it, it pulled the whole antenna out of its socket. Now once I get this little radio out of the way, you'd be able to get better video. So okay, I've got my, okay, let me put this down. Let me turn my lights on. That should help something. Okay, now let me focus for you. Okay, now here is my antenna. Okay, and I'm gonna have to solder this wire back to the antenna. So how am I gonna do this? I'm just gonna have to kind of, because my document camera's kind of taking up all the room on my desk. Okay, I'm just gonna pull the wire into view. I'm gonna tin this wire first, actually. Alright. Tin the wire with my soldering iron. That kind of burnt my eyes a little bit. Hold on, I'm gonna go get my snips to snip off a little bit of solder. Alright, I got my snips. Let me aim the microphone towards my mouth after I clipped it onto my shirt. Snips, they work pretty good. So I'm just gonna cut a piece of lead solder with a flux core. Cut that and use that, because I don't use a handyman. I just use everything with one hand, two hands basically. That's all I do. So you just kind of, so basically you hold the wire with your pinky and thumb, and you hold your solder with your pointer finger and your middle finger, basically. So you have good control over it. And I like to bend my solder a little bit like that so I could just kind of feed it through. So let's take my soldering iron. Try not to burn my computer stuff. So let's get this right in view, and then just kind of tin the wire. Do a little bit better. Alright, that wire's tinned. Now I'm going to move the radio out of the way. Or no, I'm just going to go around the radio. Heat this antenna up and tin the antenna. Okay, I've tinned the antenna. Let me do nice blob on there. Okay. Now, let's take your antenna wire and just dab it like that. There you go. You've got your soldered antenna wire right here. Okay. Now you've got your soldered antenna wire right there. That's how you solder. For those of you that don't know. And after you use your soldering tip, you just need to take a piece of steel wool and just stick your tip in there and kind of spin around. And it'll clean your tip and make it shiny. Just keep doing it until your tip is shiny and new looking. Like so. So your tip should look like this after you're done with the steel wool. That keeps your tip in good condition, and you just kind of do this. You just re-tin it a little bit, just like that. Take a solder and just dab, 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 just like that. Now your soldering iron's ready for your next job. Okay. Oh Lord. Alright, I've got this. Ready? Here, let me lift your camera up a little bit. Let me refocus. Okay, I've focused once again. Here, I'm gonna take, I need a brighter light, because this camera don't like low light situations. So here, let me turn on something brighter so that you can see, like, now you don't get that lag. So anyway, here is your antenna with your tinned wire soldered on. It's perfect. It's a nice little solder. Make sure you're using lead-based solder with flux core. The flux basically stops the little spiky spikes from happening, and the lead, it's just so much easier to work with. So much, I'll tell you. It's way easier to work with lead than it is with other types of solder. Ooh, man. And it gives you a better connection, and you get more control over your solder. I use this right here. Oh, it's Rosencore electrical solder. It's low melting alloy with fast acting flux. Anyway, it is. Yeah, it says product contains lead known to cause cancer, but that's. I tell you, people think the lead solder is dangerous. There are people who've been working all their lives with lead solder and never had a problem. Now, if you have a cut and you shove the solder in there and melt the solder in your wound, then you might have a problem. You know, besides the burning, the scarring, and the pain, you will probably get cancer or some other disease from this. But as long as you have nice clean hands, no cuts. If you do have cuts, use Band-Aid. Just don't get the stuff in your wounds, and you'll be fine. Alright. I think that's good. That look good? Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I need some brighter LEDs in this lamp, because they start freaking out. See, they start blinking and all this. They're blinking, that's, yeah, just some. See, put my light back here, and it's nice and smooth again, you know. Okay, anyway. So, I've got that soldered back in. Let me unplug my iron. Yep, I've cleaned my tip. Just throw my iron over there. Okay, I'm gonna go get my hot glue gun and basically hot glue this crap back in. Yes, I know I just talked bad about them using hot glue, but I don't have a screw to fit into the bottom of that. So I'm just gonna use hot glue, just like they did, except a lot higher quality hot glue. with a lot hotter, of a hot glue gun. Okay, let me go get that. I'm gonna use a lot more hot glue. Make sure it stays in place, and then I'm gonna find a screw and put it in the bottom to hold it in place. Okay, so let's get my hot glue gun, which is right here. My hot glue gun. I'm gonna plug this in. Yep, that was my hot glue gun. I don't know if you could hear me all the way over there. But anyway, I unplugged my soldering iron, so while that cools, I'm going to hot glue this. It's going to take a minute for my glue gun to heat up. But once it does, it'll work pretty good. Now let me go get a new stick of hot glue. This is what I use. I use Elmer's Craft Bond all temperature glue. It don't string. You don't get that stringing effect that bad. It still strings, but not near as bad as other hot glue brands. And I'm not sponsored by this, so I just like it. Screw you, Elmer. Elmer's glue. Okay. Yeah, it gives a strong bond. I like it. Now let me get a stick out and put it in my mini hot glue gun that I bought from HEB. No, actually, scratch that. I bought it from eBay. This glue gun's over 4 years old, and it does the job, so it's worth it. It's a no-name hot glue gun, but it works pretty good for little projects like this. Gotta turn that light off. Back on. Move it a little closer. Give it something to focus on. Hey, I've got tons of things I need to fix, so if you people want some more videos like this, just leave a like, subscribe maybe, and I'll upload more videos like this. Because this is what I do. I build Stirling engines. I work on electronics. I replace motherboard components. I do all kind of, neat little things, and I love it. It's just what I love to do. Alright. That's why usually I buy cheap things, so that when they break, I can just go in there and fix them. Because they break a lot more frequently than more expensive electronics do. This radio right here, it's a Century radio. Century makes cheap products. And it was only $5 for this thing. It wasn't even on sale. It was just $5. That's it. I could not resist. It was just so cute. So I had to get it. Okay. That's a strong bond now. Okay. Let me see. This was hot glued right here. I'm gonna get my X-Acto knife real quick and cut that old hot glue away so I can put some fresh stuff in. So excuse me while I go get it. Just put my microphone back on. Okay, I've got my X-Acto. It's an old X-Acto and it's got a dull blade, but it'll work for this. So just put the cap on the back and bring this into view. Oh! Oh my god. I dropped it, and it scared me. Scared the Jesus out of me. Okay, here we go. Oh shoot. I forgot to solder the antenna back. Okay, now you see this hot glue in there, that's where they had it glued at. Let me get my light so that I can show you without this thing freaking out. Anyway, that's the hot glue right there. It was just hot glued in. There's a hole in the bottom right here, which is a place for a screw to go through, you know? And it just, you know, pooped out. So I am going to throw my X-Acto into there and cut all that nasty crap out, you know. Let me put my light down. Be aware that this is gonna lag quite a bit. I'm just gonna step through that and use some nasty yellow hot glue. Ew. They probably ran out of screws and decided to hot glue it, which I don't have a problem with, but you know, because I paid so little for this. Can't really see what I'm doing because of the lunas blocking my view a little bit. Oh, there the radio went again. I need to secure this somewhere. You know what, screw it, I'll let y'all lag. Look at this. They've glued their DC jack in there. They've glued it right there. Wow. They just glued it in place. No screws, no nothing. That's pretty sad right there. You know? Pretty sad that they just glue that. I mean, that's terrible. I need to get some studio lights if I'm going to be doing this now. I've upgraded to a beast of a graphics card. This computer actually came with a 3 GB graphics card, and it was a DDR something, I forget, like DDR5, pretty DDR5, yeah, something like that. I think I have a R7 right now. In there, I upgraded to a Radeon 470 8GB card. I have 2 slots on my motherboard. Yep. Got 2 of them there. Get all that old hot glue out. There's your hole right there. I'm gonna put this sleeve back on. There we go. My X-Acto is now safe to touch. Without all that crazy mess. See, look, there's my hole you see down here with all the hot glue. Yeah. Yep, so I'm just gonna feed my antenna through that hole up there and push it through this bottom hole. There's a little clip in there and it kind of clips in. See these little ridges on this antenna down at the bottom? See that brass right above it? There's a little slot notched into it, and in the bottom here there's a slot for it to snap into, and I'll glue it in place. So I'm just gonna feed this up through there like so. Okay, I'm gonna push it down through. Looks like my hot glue gun's heated up. Okay, I'm gonna hold this. Sorry about this video. It's kind of. Let me use a generous amount of glue, like that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So let's see, within good lighting. Yeah, it's not that bad, is it? It is not that bad. It'll work just fine. Okay, now let's just let this set real quick. And then I'm going to put it back together. I like this camera, but it's been screwing up here lately. And I've never used it before. See, I have to use a white surface like this to keep it from freaking out. You know? Because if I don't use the white surface, it'll start freaking out like crazy. Let me see how good this thing focuses. Here we go. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna open my video files. Okay, it's still recording. I have the Luna software up here. It's called EasyView, EASI-VIEW, and it's a document camera application. Gives you good control over your document camera. You know, because without the software, you will not be able to upscale your resolution. It'll be like 360. No, not even that. It's like 144 pixel, basically like filming on a potato. You won't get the autofocus option, which you won't be able to focus. You know, so it'll be blurry the whole time, which is ridiculous. They should like integrate that into the camera's software, because I've opened this camera up before and it had some driver board inside and had a microphone soldered to it and everything, and I'm not going to use the microphone that's built into this thing because it's junk. It's scratchy. Can't hear me. I might replace that microphone. I don't know. But here we go. That should be set. Yes, it does look set, don't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, now that that's set. Okay, it's set. So let me put this thing back together. Okay. So I'm just gonna make sure nothing else is screwed up inside of this thing before I shove it back together. Oh my god, there's two speakers on this, but one is fake. The one on the right, this one that I'm holding right here, this one on the right is a dummy speaker. This one is a real speaker. Okay? The left side's real, the right side's dummy. They've hot glued both of them in. They've hot glued components onto the motherboard. Oh my god. They've got flux all over the place. It looks like they used a flux pen to solder some of this stuff. Some kid in China probably made this. Oh my god. It's terrible. Okay. I'm gonna throw this thing back together. Oh, don't forget to put your handle in. Crazy Caden. Alright, which way does this go? It goes this way. Shoot. The Chinese. Is this just snapping? Or is it just... Alright, so it just kind of clips and it just gets held in by this case. Yeah. Put it on. Hope that hot glue's not in the way of anything. Okay. Oh, and this is the hole I was talking about down here. They could have easily put a screw through there, but they haven't. And I see I didn't completely line it up, but that don't matter because It still works. Just perfect. Alright, well, I'm gonna screw this thing back together. Okay, here's my screws. I got this one, this one, and this one, a total of 4 screws here. Let me focus.